Hello everyone, welcome to your virtual instructor. So today we are going to talk about VPC peering. What is VPC peering? It is a network connection between two VPCs that enables you to route traffic between them using private IPv4 address or IPv6 address. So when you do a peering connection, so instances in either VPC can communicate with each other as if they are within the same network. Where you can create the VPC peering? You can create the VPC peering between your own VPC in the same region, in the different region, or even between the VPC in another AWS account. Okay, so let's see some peering scenarios. So here we have two VPC, VPC A and VPC B, which are connected by the VPC peering connection. We'll be modifying the route table of each VPC, and we will be adding the route to the peering connection in each VPC A and B. Here is another scenario where VPC is paired with VPC B and C. So we'll be adding two peering connections for B and C in the VPC A routes. And for the VPC B and VPC C, we will be adding the peering connection route to the VPC A. What is the VPC peering connection cost? There is no charge for a peering connection. Data transfer that stays within an availability zone is free, but when this crosses the availability zone, then you have to bear the charge and you will be charged at $0.01 per GB in each direction, whether it is a ingress traffic or outgress traffic. So you can get more details from this link which I have given in this slide. Peering connection quota. So these are the quotas which are available with the Amazon peering connection. So here you see peering connection per VPC's default quota is 50 and it is adjustable, yes. And VPC peering connection request, it is 25. So VPC peering connection request is basically when you do a peering from VPC A to B, then VPC A sends a peering request to the VPC B, and once it accepts that particular request, then only the peering connection takes place. So you can also increase that quota, and there is a third quota. When VPC A will request for the peering connection, so it will remain for 168 hours. If it is not accepted or rejected by the remote VPC, then it will be expired, and this cannot be increased. So let's see how we can request the increase in the quota from the AWS console. So here I am in AWS console, search for the quotas, and you can see quota increase request. Click on this. Now search for our service, which is Amazon VPC. Go inside this. Now filter the service quota. Okay, so suppose you want to adjust the quota for the active VPC peering connection per VPC. Select this one and click on request quota increase. So here you can give whatever value you want and see if the AWS accept it or reject it, and click on the request. So I don't want to request for the quota increase, so I am cancelling this request. But this is how you can do it for yourself or for your organization. So let's go back to our slide. Okay, so what are peering connection limitations? So peering connection, when you create a peering connection between A and B, the IPv4 or IPv6 CIDR range shouldn't conflict or shouldn't overlap. That means suppose VPC A has the CIDR range of 10.0.0.0/16, then the new VPC B which you are going to pair with shouldn't have that CIDR range. It can have CIDR range 10.1.0016, or it could have 10.2.0016 or 172.xxx, something like that, but it shouldn't conflict. It shouldn't be the same as, or it shouldn't overlap the existing CIDR. VPC peering does not support transitive peering relationship. What does that mean? If you are pairing a VPC A with VPC B, and suppose you are pairing VPC B with C, so that doesn't mean that VPC A and C peering will automatically happen. You have to create a separate peering connection between VPC and C. So this is the meaning of the transitive peering relationship, which is not supported by AWS peering connection. Okay, in VPC peering connection, VPC doesn't have access to any other connection that peer VPC may have. We already talked about the transitive peering relationship. That means if VPC B is paired with the VPC C, then it doesn't mean VPC A can automatically, or VPC A will get automatically paired with VPC C. Also, if VPC B is like connected via direct connect to a corporate network, or VPC A cannot use the internet gateway of VPC B, or if it is a internet connection in a private subnet through a net device, or VPC endpoint to an AWS service. Suppose, for example, endpoint to S3, so they will not share the connections. Another limitation is VPC peering connections are limited on the number of active and pending peering connections that you can have per VPC, which we have already seen in the previous slide, where the default quota is given, and also how you can increase the request for the increase in the default quota. Only one peering connection can be established between the same two VPCs at the same time. So if there is a peering connection between VPC A and B, you cannot create another peering connection between VPC A and B. Of course, you can create peering connection between VPC A and C or B and C, but you cannot create multiple peering connection between two VPCs. Jumbo frames are supported only within the same region. That means maximum transmission unit size is 1500 bytes. If I create a peering connection between VPC A and B, and if I am adding a security group rule in one of the EC2 in peering connection in VPC A, I cannot reference the security group of VPC B. So that is the limitation. This we will also see in our lab. Now let's talk about our lab, hands-on lab architecture. So this is the architecture which we are going to follow. So we will be creating one VPC in the Ohio region and one VPC will be there in the North California region. I will be having one EC2B in the private subnet, and I will be establishing the peering between two VPC, and then in the North California region in one public subnet I will be deploying one EC2 machine and assigning a public IP to it. Then I will be doing SSH. Then I will be connecting to EC2B using the private IP, so that you will feel it is a part of the same network, not a part of different network. So let's jump into our lab today.